Welcome to our study in the book of Daniel. I'm Dick Baker, your teacher. And today, before we start chapter 6, we have a special insert lesson titled Insights into Persia. So I wanted to just take a few minutes and share some of the things about the Persian Empire that will help us understand Cyrus, also Daniel living under the Persian kings, as well as the time and the people. We know that the Persian Mede Empire was around from 539, that was their conquest of Babylon, to 33 BC, or 333 BC, when Alexander the Great became the next world empire, the Greeks. The Persian Empire was the second part of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, the silver arms and chest of that giant statue. It would be the world empire from Cyrus the Great until its demise, which I just mentioned a minute ago. And here is the empire. And their capital was Susa. You can see how close they are to Babylon. Persepolis was a very unique constructed city, and we'll be looking at some pictures of the archaeological ruins of that towards the end of our presentation. Here is a picture of that statue, and of course the gold head was Babylon. The silver chest and arms was the Persian Empire. The Persians had many significant accomplishments. Here are a few that made them great. And in sharing these several different aspects of their civilization, we'll get a good look at different portions of their life and their lifestyle. So about conquest and expansion. The empire expanded through military conquest. This was done with a very superior military force and powerful emperors like Cyrus and Darius. The empire spanned 3 continents. And if you look once again at our map, you can see that they were in Asia, they were in Africa, that's in the Egyptian area, and they were up into Europe. You can see that where Macedonia is, up in the northern part of what would be today Greece, and then up all the coastal areas. Concerning their government, leadership came from the top down. The king knew how to administer. In the Bible, he picked 3 presidents who divided the empire into 127 provinces or satrapies. They were governed by each of the provinces by a satrap, of course, the singular, who oversaw the local affairs, collected taxes, sent them back to the empire, to Susa, and maintained law and order. The satraps answered to the king. Yes, they were under the governors or the presidents, the 3 of them, one of the 3 of them, but they had direct access to the king. And so in a lot of ways that kept everybody honest. The governors dealt fairly, wisely with the satraps, and the satraps did their job. They could be called to the king if they were not doing their job by a governor. So the trade routes and communication, a very interesting section. The Persian Empire constructed the Royal Road, and it spanned over 1,500 miles from Susa in Persia to Sardis in Anatolia. And if I left off Anatolia and just said Sardis, most of you would think immediately of the city in the book of Revelation, and you would be correct. And so here is the Royal Road. It's like a giant 1,500-mile interstate. And it started at Susa, and you can see it taking off and heading north along the Fertile Crescent for a while, and then it cuts through the mountains and goes all the way out even to Sardis and a little bit beyond to the seaport. And so arteries would shoot off of that. Stations were established along the road for messengers to change horses, ensuring a quick relay of messages and facilitating the movement of goods and information. So this was their main trade route. This is, they would have horse stations, areas to spend the night and get fresh horses, or during the day and take off again. It was also used, of course, for delivering mail. And that I bring to mind something. What does this sound like to you with having road stations to change your horses? Well, it would be the American Pony Express, and they got their idea from that. Cultures and their religion. The Persian Empire was known for its policy of religious and cultural tolerance, which set it apart from many of the other ancient empires. They really looked at religion as that it would just be like a melting pot, whoever you are or whatever your belief system was, that you just could melt right into the culture and right into their civilization. If you didn't raise a stink and didn't have a holy war over religion, you were fine. And under those rules and guidances, we could go build a church in the town. And we could start other churches throughout the empire. And as long as the goal was, just to serve our God and not try to overthrow the empire or throw people out of local government, we're fine. Culturally, they had their own culture, their own Persian culture, but they enjoyed learning about other people's cultures. And as they took empires and other nations and brought people in to the capital city and some of the other larger cities, they wanted to assimilate them in to their culture. But in doing so, they knew that their actual culture would change a little because they brought someone in from the outside and were learning from them. And they then again learned from the Persians. Their currency was interesting. The Persians introduced the derrick, which was a gold coin. It was standardized throughout the empire. There was no back to it. Well, there's a back, but it was no picture. And what I looked it up on eBay, there was one there for sale for $2,700. And this one has been graded also. And so for the striking of it got 4 out of 5, and the surface, it was really good looking. You could read everything. It got a 5 out of 5. You can see it's not that large because that plastic encasement is about the size of a baseball card. So it would be down along like our dime, our penny in that realm. Construction. Persepolis was the ceremonial capital of the Persian Empire. It was built by Darius I in the 6th century BC. And this gives us an excellent idea of their construction and how they built their cities, because it was sort of this is our showcase place of our architecture, of who we are, of what we have done. And they made it very well. They made it as who they were as Persians. Persepolis featured monumental palaces, audience halls, and intricate stone reliefs that depicted scenes of imperial triumphs and more. So as I said, this is their showcase. The war victories were had, they would be showcased here. The building would be built for them. So let's just take a look at what archaeologists have dug up and what is there. And I mean, just just a step back. I mean, the columns themselves are great finds. But look towards the back of this plateau in the building. You can see a human person standing next to the column, so you have perspective. The people that you see on the left in the relief are then life-size. Just look at the man. And if you look at there are feet pretty much left on the staircases going up on the outside. In a minute you'll see the inside that have people too. And that, of course, it looks like a lioness attacking a horse. Here's another picture, and again the people would be life-size, or actually these would be taller that you're looking at. And you do have animals to the right. And once again, you see people on the outside going up the steps, but you get a lot of arches. A good deal picture. Here's one of the best pictures. So if you and I were walking up the steps, these would be about our size if you were 5'8", 5'10", in there. Again, here's lion attacking the horse. There is script written into the stone block. Can you see it at the back of the man, up and down by his feet? It would tell us what this was all about, what this relief was about, who did it, who it was done in honor of. This gets sometimes the huge size and immensity of what they built. Now here we have, based upon what they've dug up, and they know where the locations of these things were because they found walls and they dig down and they just keep the wall going until it goes all the way around and forms this. And then they start digging inside and they find, and then they computer build it out of what it appears that it probably would look like. It's an artist's concept based upon archaeological finds. Here's some of their artwork. King on the throne. And once again, artwork. Persepolis, the city of the Persians. How the palace would have looked. Look at the far hill. Structures there. The irrigation system, which is very fascinating. To overcome the arid regions of the empire, the Persians implemented advanced irrigation techniques such as qanats. All right, what is a qanat? Qanats were underground channels that tapped into groundwater sources and transported water to the surface, allowing for irrigation of farmland. So they would find the water sources down low, and they would build actually a hole that a man could climb down into, and he'd get down into where that is. Then I need to go a little further. You see the mountain? So the deepest shaft would be the highest up one, the next one down, next one down, and then there's the chute of the water there at water level. What they're doing is they're steering the water once they make these holes. And then from hole to hole underground they connect. And so there's underwater tunnel. But what they would do is they would find the water as far out as they thought they could go and find that and then work the holes and work the tunnel to drop underground and to bring it into the city and it would flow through the city through different aspects. At first it would be for fresh water. Then washing, we can see at the mosque, it went through a fort, and then it goes out into the irrigation areas. Now here's a picture, a modern day picture of many of these holes. And I use the word holes because they are just big holes. They've found them, dug them up, and they've got little side holes. And what they use these for, once upon a time, was to bring water in, not just maybe the city, but maybe this was for the irrigation fields. Now, I'll show you something interesting. Look to the upper left. Do you see that tall type structure? That looks like an electrical tower to bring electricity across a barren land. I see another one in the upper right very faintly. And of course, that's a road underneath that electrical tower. And off to the way upper left, it looks like some people live there. So these things were massive. Then there were times when they brought it out of the mountains that they needed to divert it throughout a city, a larger city. And so they built the canals above ground. And as the water came out, it would get divided, and it would make its way down through the canals into the city and through the city. Here's an underground tunnel area. There's no water there, but you can see the steps, and it would go to the hole up to the top of the ground. But then, of course, they made underground the tunnels and for the water to flow through there. Very good. So preserving it all as we wrap things up. The Persians had the foresight to seek to preserve their knowledge for generations to come. They did this through libraries and academies. They collected and translated works from various cultures, including ancient Mesopotamian texts. When I found this picture of this culture and what they were preserving, one of the things they did, first thing I thought of is they were buying lottery tickets. Because look at the guy, he's bringing a winner to the cashier. And when I told my class that, they thought that was funny. They had a splendid library at Bukhara. And they not, again, just had their culture, but they had others that they brought in and translated. They were preserving. The empire became a center of intellectual activity, fostering the exchange of ideas and the development of science, philosophy, and literature. The libraries and academies served as repositories of knowledge, contributing to the preservation and dissemination of ancient wisdom. So I want to thank you for this little preview into the Persians and the Persian Empire. And thank you for watching this short presentation. Please check my playlist out. You are watching my channel right now, and so when you're done with this video, you should be still in my channel. Just go to the playlist, and you'll find the other lessons on the book of Daniel, as well as many other books of the Bible, Americana things, Bible trivia quizzes, topical studies. So just wander around, and I will thank you very much, and may God bless you, and get ready to join us for Daniel chapter 6.